Good morning. I'm here today with Claire from Finding Nemo, and I'm so pleased to have you as a new member of our network, Claire. And I know you've got an interesting story to share. Do you want to tell me a bit about your background and where you began?
Okay, well, Sinead, thanks very much for this opportunity, and it's lovely to be a member of Mums at Work. Okay, well, my name's Claire Hughes. I live in the beautiful village of Castle Caulfield in County Tyrone, Northern Ireland. I'm happily married, 42 years. I've got two children. I've got two dogs. I've got two grandpups. I originally was from Cookstown, and I was the youngest of one of 11, which even though I was number 11, my dad always used to call me number one. My sisters always said that I was spoiled. So I went straight into the bank after I left school doing A levels in 1977. I joined AIB Bank, much to the disappointment of my school, who wanted me to go on to university. But at that stage, I was in love. I didn't want to leave him. I did go on to marry him, which was great.
Well, that's brilliant, Claire. So you were in the bank for how
Yes.
many years?
I was in the bank for 35 years. I took early retirement in 2012. At that stage, I didn't feel that, I just felt I was too young to give up. I always wanted to do something. Because I was interested in business, I had been a business lender. I wanted to help small, medium enterprises. So I went to work on a consultancy basis for our local enterprise centre here in Dungannon, helping people through the Go For It programme and whatever. We also was very heavily involved in setting up a business network called Up for Business at the time. It was great. I did go on then to serve on the board of Dungannon Enterprise Centre, and I served on the board of what was then known as DETI, Northern Ireland, which is now the Department for Economy. So I've always had an interest in supporting business. It was during that time that a 35-year-old friend told me over a cup of coffee one day that a relationship had come sadly to an abrupt ending for her. And she told me how difficult it was to meet a partner. And to cut a long story short, I set up a matchmaking company called Soiree Society to help. I started up actually, to be honest, as an events company. First, I denied that it was dating, but then I could see that there was such a demand for the service.
Brilliant, Claire. Do you know that's some journey from the bank to business manager, then to Soiree Society. And
Yeah.
do you know, I'm sure you learned a lot along the way. What were your biggest challenges, do you think?
I suppose the biggest challenge is this. I said there I was a business lender, and for years I was telling people how to run their business. And then when you come out and you start your own business, you realize, oh my goodness, because you're working in a big business that's got so much support around you. I mean, you've got a marketing department, a HR department, a legal department. They have, so much money behind them. And you also had loads of people to delegate to, and you come out and you start your own business, and all of a sudden you're wearing every flipping hat that you have, and you realize then that you don't have a lot of the skills. Like my biggest challenge is technology. I just have a phobia about technology, and the whole social media scene too was very different. When I come out and started my own business,
It's
it
always
looks easy,
changing,
but
Claire.
it's not.
Along the way, you must have had a lot of success and achievements because you're not telling us that to be in the bank for so long, you'd actually risen to quite a high level, which was unusual for a woman, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, yes. I suppose that would have been one of my biggest achievements. I attained manager rank in 1996, and I suppose that sounds like nothing now, but back then I was there was only two female managers in AIB at the branch managers in AIB at that time, out of 80. So that was a big thing. I also was the first banker in Northern Ireland to obtain chartered manager status through the Chartered Management Institute. And I suppose the matchmaking, it was completely new. I went on to win awards at the UK Dating Awards in the UK. which was great, and in the Northern Ireland Corporate Life Awards. And I suppose the biggest achievement in that, I've successfully matched me, and obviously Rhoda and Paul have worked with me. We've gone on to successfully match hundreds of couples. We've had 4 weddings, we've 7 engagements, and 2 squarry babies to date. So, that in itself is a lovely achievement.
It certainly is. Like, could you ever have imagined, when you started out in the bank, that this was the sort of thing that you would be up to, Claire?
Absolutely not. As I said, I fell into it quite by accident. But it does make it, they changed the name of bank manager at one stage to relationship banker. And, and I ended up being a relationship person. So, yeah, there is that link.
I suppose, Claire, after having such important roles and building your own business, you must have some great advice for other women who are starting up a business.
Yes, well, the first thing, I suppose, the advice to any woman is don't try and be a man. Sometimes people feel that you have to be hard-nosed to succeed. And, it really annoys me when I see women trying to be hard. I tell a story about, I had a manager once who used to laugh, and he used to say, oh, you and your old soft skills. And I remember turning around to him with, when you think of COVID and what we all ran out of in COVID, I turned around to him and I said, do you know what Andrex toilet tissue is? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, my soft skills are like it. It's soft, strong, it's very long, and you never want to find yourself without them. So I think after that, he did see the strength in soft skills. And I suppose the other thing that I would say to people in business, females in business, sometimes you think that when you're in business, you have to compete. Never compete, just create. And sometimes you also think that, oh my goodness, if somebody's in the same line of business as you, that you can't be friends with them, or you can't interact with them. It's a wee bit like, Sinead, you're running a membership thing, but our strength here is that we're collaborating. And in fact, we're helping each other, and we're helping everybody that we work with. So it's really, really good to create. The other wee bit of information that I would say to people is, get yourself a mentor. It can be very lonely in business, and, get a mentor that basically knows what they're about and has got really good results. You will end up being the average of the 5 people that you associate with. And let me tell you, there's so many people out there that will pull you down rather than build you up. So that to me is very, very important. And lastly, the other thing that I would say is, and I think COVID taught us this, is don't have all your eggs in one basket. Have another source of income. And I would never have been into passive income, but I have been recently, and I've realized just it's lovely to make money whilst you sleep, whilst you're also doing something else you love.
That's really good advice, Claire. Yes, COVID has taught us lots of different things, and made us realize that life is very short and that we need to make the best of it.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, I see the Finding Nemo banner behind you there. Tell me all about it.
Well, Finding Nemo it's a membership group, and it's to empower females to rediscover their sense of identity, their purpose, and to grow their confidence. And where it came from was, again, during COVID, the matchmaking business obviously had to close its doors for a while because, you couldn't date, you couldn't go out. And I sort of thought, right, okay, what else am I going to do? So I started to do sort of online events. As a result of that, I had the privilege of being asked to do a TED Talk, which I did on loneliness. And, when I started to look into loneliness itself was a bigger epidemic than even COVID. There are so many lonely people in the world, and sometimes people think that loneliness, it's an old age thing, or it's for people living alone. And it's not really like that at all. It's so much more comprehensive. But ideally, it usually is all to do with loss. And sometimes loss people think of bereavement. But there's things like loss of identity. And if I go back and think about, when you become defined by maybe a role that you've been in for years and years and years, and when you end up, you think, who am I? And there's so many people that have been in that situation over COVID. I mean, all of a sudden, they weren't working in offices anymore. They lost the comradeship of colleagues, homeschooling, this new life, and people, there's other loss. Obviously, bereavement's a big one, but people lose, for example, breakup of a relationship. They maybe not only lose their partner, but they lose a circle of friends and the life, that they had. So people started to come to me and sort of say that that they just didn't know who they were, or that they felt that other people were dictating who they were. And when I started to do some of the online events, we started doing things like quizzes and things which were for single people. Other people were saying, well, can I not join in? So that's what made me think then, and particularly females, we're also busy. We're also busy running around, and but we don't really connect. So that's why I come up with Finding Nemo. So that's where it started. It's a bit of a long story, but there you are. So it's about to, it has, the doors are open. So
yeah, you're so passionate about it, and I suppose you've seen women who have been very lonely and heard so many stories. And I think we spoke about this before, where we assume that some women who are lonely need a man, but they don't. Sometimes they need the support of other women. So exactly. You're very passionate about that too, aren't you?
Yes. I mean, okay, definitely if you get a partner and all of it, that's maybe an added bonus, but it's not the be all and end all, believe you me. And I don't like it when people think that they do need a person in their lives, because it's so much to offer themselves. But I suppose why I'm passionate about it. Two things stand out of my mind. First of all, when I left the bank, I remember one of my colleagues standing up and making a speech. And he said two things. He said, first of all, Claire cares. And I thought, oh, which was really funny, because I used to be called Care Bear when I was small. And the second thing was, he says, Claire's mad. And I remember thinking, what? And he said, Claire makes a difference. And, and a positive difference. And I suppose when I look at, when you go back to the achievements and things like that, it's what makes you tick. And I don't mean that you're doing it for your own. You're doing it to bring out the best in others. And one member of staff that I used to work with, who had very low confidence, very low esteem, and I worked closely with her, and I got this lovely note from her one night, and she just said, you made me believe in myself. And I remember thinking, she just seemed to blossom whenever she was able to tap into that, that self-confidence. And that's what makes me passionate, because I just know how much people's worlds can open whenever they have confidence in themselves, and that they try to find their purpose. And like purpose isn't a thing. Purpose is a feeling. And that's what I'm really passionate about, helping people.
And Finding Nemo's brand new, isn't it? So how can people join?
Yeah, but Finding Nemo is brand new. Yes, so you'll find us. The website's www.findingme-mo.com, or we've got our Facebook group, Finding Nemo. You'll find us there. We did have a very successful mini launch last week, which was an introduction to it, and I was blown away. We had over 200 people, and from all over the world. A lot of them came on because I am associating with a girl called Donna Ashworth, who's a poet and writer from Scotland, and she has something like almost 600,000 followers, and she's going to be one of our regular hosts, and she announced it on her Facebook page, and I started to get people coming on from America, Australia, South Africa, which is just wonderful, so I just love the power of online when it's used positive like that.
It's great to collaborate with other people. I'm a great believer in it, and I'm also a member of your group and Finding Nemo, and I'm telling you, Claire, your group is brilliant. I thoroughly really recommend joining it. And I know that you're in the launch stage. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yes, well, I think what you're really saying there is that last week we had this launch by a colleague and a counsellor friend of mine, Suzanne Brady. She owns Positive Relationships, and she wrote a particular program for us called Me, Myself and I. To me, this is the absolute foundation of what I am trying to do. It represents everybody. Who am I? And confidence, communication, your relationships. That program alone is worth £295, and we've wrapped that in for free into the membership. which is £47 a month. The special offer also in that is, there's no tie-ins, there's no contracts to this membership. So, people can come in if it's for them. I hope that they'll stay. And if they do stay, they're going to be my founding members, okay? And they will always be on that price, even when we reopen again in the new year and the price increases. So, because they're going to help me. As I said, it is new, and I'm not professing that I have everything written in stone here. I've got some absolutely brilliant content. I mean, there's image consultancy, there's financial information, there's a beautiful product, Share My Legacy, the lady that who's originally from Northern Ireland, who now lives in Chicago, and she's a lawyer. She's written this beautiful thing, how we can, the biggest asset that we can leave future generations are our stories and our memories. And so we're going to have her as well. So I'm very excited about it. But as I said, there is capacity in there because I want to find out who's my members and why they're there, and what is it that we can help them with, because we will be doing, if they want to partake in it, a little survey to measure where they start off at and their confidence levels, their STEAM levels. And hopefully I want to be able to prove before I open the doors again that these people will be able to give me testimonies to sort of say what they've learned in it. So I'm learning from them as much as they're going to be learning from me. So
that's
very
brilliant.
excited about it.
It's brilliant, Claire. I really love the concept of women supporting women, as you know, because that's what we're all about here as well. And I believe that together we can do so much more. It's great to have so many strong women collaborations to help you grow and to help other women, because we all can come at it from different angles.
Well, I've never met anybody as good at it as you, Sinead. I mean, your support in your group is unbelievable. And certainly I will be telling people to join Mums at Work.
Well, thank you so much. Look, I wish you all the best in your new business, Claire. I think it's going to be great. And I'm so excited to see what happens for you next.
That's great. Thanks so much, Sinead.